Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. India's first university entrance exams begin for the first time. Exams for admissions to 86 central universities. An estimated 15 lakh students are taking these exams. With a late night change of centres, many in Delhi actually missed today's exam. But students welcome the multiple choice format. The Dalai Lama in Ladakh for a month, a strong message to China. The Dalai Lama says India and China must talk to resolve their conflict. Military use is not the answer, and that Tibet must get meaningful autonomy. India and China will hold military talks on Sunday. Ranil Wickremesinghe is sworn in as acting president according to Sri Lanka's constitution after President Rajapaksa stepped down. Sri Lanka's parliament will now convene tomorrow. But the ex-Prime Minister and the ex-Finance Minister Mahinda and Basil Rajapaksa cannot leave Sri Lanka, says the Supreme Court, after the president fled. Flood waters are now receding in South Gujarat's Navsari and Valsad. Gujarat's iconic Sardar Sarovar Dam is now more than 50% full. NDTV reports from the devastation and impact of flood-affected areas in Navsari district. The rupee strengthened slightly today, but it's still touching 80. The markets break a 4-day losing streak. Meanwhile, China's economy contracts by 2.6% in April-June, according to latest numbers. For the first time, a red extreme heat warning for the United Kingdom. Temperatures are likely to cross 40 degrees in the UK for the first time ever. From Uttar Pradesh, this heartwarming story, to serve with love as children weep as their beloved teacher is transferred. Stars on social media and paparazzi wish I could hold on to some personal life of mine, says going to be dad Ranbir Kapoor.
I wish I could hold on to some personal life of mine, and just keep it a little private.
Our lead story, well, across India, India's mega university entrance exam began today. These exams are happening for the first time, and they will be the single gateway for undergraduate admissions to 86 universities. So that really is a huge number. Now, this is happening for the first time. Nearly 15 lakh students are taking this, the second largest entrance exam in India currently. But there was chaos and confusion over venues and exam schedules. A late-night change of centres meant that hundreds of students missed their exams today, and there was panic. The National Testing Agency says there will be a second chance for students in August.
ये बच्चा ग्रेटर नोएडा से ही आया। अगर ये पहले बोलते तो क्यों परेशान होता है? सर, ये सेंटर भी चेंज कर दिया इन्होंने।
हम लोगों ने सही से एड्रेस बताया है कि कहाँ पे हमारा सेंटर पड़ा है।
सेंटर चेंज हो गया था ना नोएडा के लिए, उसमें ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आ गई थी कुछ पेरेंट्स को। काफी हुई है। बहुत बच्चों के साथ ये इशू आ रहा है।
It's very difficult for the kid in 2 days of time of information.
एक दिन पहले एडमिट कार्ड आ रहा है, फिर अगले दिन चेंज हो रहा है।
Diksha, a CUET undergraduate candidate, pleads in front of National Testing Agency staff at the examination center, requesting them to allow her to take today's exam. Last night, her examination center was changed from West Delhi to one in Greater Noida in UP. And she's panicking on how she will retake this exam.
जस्ट अभी कॉल करिए, मेल वगैरह चेक कराएं तो बोला है कि हाँ कोई मैसेज अभी मैसेज आया तुम्हारे चेंज हो गया।
आप सडनली एकदम नोटिफिकेशन देंगे, कहाँ से बच्चा पहुँचेगा आप बताइए। कह रहे आप जाइए
और दूसरी जगह जाइए, वो बोल रहे कि शायद वो तुम्हें टाइम दे, ऐसा कुछ है।
Diksha is not only one. Many students were informed about changes in their examination center just this morning.
वो उठ रहा है, देख रहा है पापा मेरा तो ग्रेटर नोएडा सेंटर पड़ गया है।
किसके साथ हुआ?
मेरे बेटी आया है, बेटा मेरा ग्रेटर नोएडा गया हुआ है।
अच्छा।
दो बेटा सभी यहाँ आए थे।
The abrupt change of exam center was not the only issue. Many students questioned the schedule as they went on to take 4 exams on same day.
4 सब्जेक्ट्स एग्जाम है।
4 सब्जेक्ट
इंग्लिश, होम साइंस, फिजिकल एजुकेशन, जनरल टेस्ट। बहुत टफ है, मतलब अनलकी फील हो रहा है कि पहला दिन हमारा ही क्यों है, बाकियों को मेरे फ्रेंड्स का अगस्त में और मेरा ही क्यों है आज।
After the first exam, however, many students looked relieved at the multiple choice format, but the logistics ahead are still daunting.
आज का ठीक भी गया और थोड़े क्वेश्चंस ट्रिकी भी थे और थोड़े मुश्किल भी थे।
तो अगला एग्जाम कब है, उसके बारे में डिटेल आ गई है?
डिटेल आ गई है पर एड्रेस नहीं पता है, कुछ नहीं पता कहाँ पर है, कैसे है, कुछ
अभी तक कुछ नहीं पता चला। तो अभी भी कंफ्यूजन है, 2 दिन बाद एग्जाम
है। संडे को एग्जाम है, मतलब बस कल का ही गैप।
The Tamil Nadu government opposes CUET, calling the system regressive, which could undermine school education and favor mushrooming of private coaching centers even for admission to humanities programs. M.K. Stalin has demanded the Prime Minister to withdraw this. You're planning to get into law?
Angeline, a welder's daughter and a law aspirant, says CUET promotes private coaching that poor students like her can't afford. She is worried this would make students' life hard and high scores in class 12 irrelevant and shift their focus to crack entrance exams.
What's the trend among students?
They do take coaching classes, but then I do not believe in it.
Right.
I get tired of it.
Disappointment is it's not what everybody is not aware of this.
Some students like Iswar argue CUET makes admission process for central universities easier in one go by widening their options at national level.
This central university entrance test is very useful to apply in topmost central universities.
And recently it has been declared the schedule. The problem is that it's for first time, so we cannot have any material, study material for it. So this NTA and CUET are unpretended. Anytime they can give any notification.
Well, the candidates today gave mixed reactions regarding the first day and first examination of Common University Entrance Test. The big question that still remains is that how exactly the National Testing Agency and other relevant authorities are planning to solve the issues of flow of information and the ambiguity in it, and the last minute changes that in fact cost a lot of students their exam today. We'll report NDTV.
Even if a candidate lands up at a center which is not allotted to him or her in the admit card, we still permit them to take the test in that center provided they come within 30 minutes from the commencement of the center. If a few students have missed the CUET because they turned up late at the centers beyond the 30 minutes grace time that we give, if they have turned up beyond this time, there is no way we can conduct a retest to them.
And the Dalai Lama is currently in Ladakh in Leh for a month, which is likely to raise a red flag in China, and it sends a strong message of India's resolve. The Dalai Lama today said that India and China will have to solve the border issues through talks, that military conflict won't benefit anyone, a day after he stressed that Tibet must get meaningful autonomy.
A human chain 10 kilometers long as thousands gathered on the streets of Leh to welcome the Dalai Lama. It's the first visit of the Tibetan spiritual leader since Ladakh was carved out as a separate union territory in August 2019. The big question, how the Dalai Lama's visit will go down with China amid a prolonged standoff between PLA and Indian Army along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Not surprisingly, the Dalai Lama had a message for peace for the two countries and extended an olive branch to China, who had objected to the Prime Minister's birthday greetings to the Tibetan leader last week, calling it interference in its internal affairs.
Basically, India and China, most populated two nations and neighbor. Sooner or later, you have to solve this problem through talk, through peaceful means. Some Chinese hardliner, they consider me splittist and reactionary, so always criticize me. But now more and more Chinese now realize Dalai Lama not seeking independence.
Dalai Lama will be staying in Ladakh for next 1 month and China will be closely watching it. This is Dalai Lama's first visit after Ladakh was carved out as a union territory in August 2019. The visit also comes just 2 days before next round of military talks between India and China. The question is, will this further complicate matters? In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, Fine.
Let's go across live now to Colombo, where Shija joins us from the old Parliament. Now, Parliament will, of course, convene tomorrow. This as Ranil Wickremesinghe has taken over as acting president today. And with Parliament convening tomorrow, a sense perhaps, Shija, that in Sri Lanka there will finally be some change. What are the people saying? We can see they're still camping there 100 days into these protests.
Well, that's right, Sonia. In fact, reporting right outside the old Parliament. In fact, the protesters have not vacated this particular place. But one of the slogans that's reverberating right now is now that Ranil go home. Of course, in a way that they accept constitutionally that he's been appointed as the acting president. But what they say is that this shouldn't really continue. But this is what you see right behind me, the visuals that we're showing you at the moment. Yes, it's a celebration of sorts right now. They are also cutting cake. That's what we're seeing. There are several of the protesters who are up on the stage talking about the victory that they have achieved in these many days. If I could go across to a protester here, what does it really mean for her? Thank you for joining us. We see that Gotabaya has already resigned, but now Ranil has been appointed as the acting president. But we see that the protesters will continue the protest even until Ranil resigns.
Yeah, we already the younger generation, they want to send Ranil also home. They don't want Ranil here as a president. So therefore, they are fighting for Ranil to come go back. So that is because of that.
So you will continue the protest here.
But
you will continue the protest until Ranil goes home.
No, he is only now for the working for some days. But anyway, he has to go home. They want to send him home.
Right. Because this is just one protester who's telling us that it is not just about Gotabaya, but they also want Ranil to leave. Now, this is what we understand from the protesters on ground. From tomorrow onward, this place that was all called as Gota Gogama, they say that will turn into Ranil go home. So that is what several of the protesters maintain. But on the other hand, we understand Mr. Ranil has been appointed as the acting president, which means Sri Lanka will have a new president in the next 7 days. Back to you.
Also, Shija, you saw that both the ex-Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who was really earlier the person against whom all public anger is directed at, and also the ex-finance minister, Basil Rajapaksa, his brother, have been told by the top court that they can't leave Sri Lanka. So they're still in hiding. What news on that, and are they likely to face any action?
Well, right now the political scenario here in Sri Lanka is in limbo because one, you just have an acting president. Right now the acting president is Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. Yes, of course, a petition has already been moved in the Supreme Court, which in fact bars Mahinda Rajapaksa and also Basil Rajapaksa from moving out of the country or leaving for overseas because they want, this is with regard to the May 9th incident where the pro-government protesters had clashed with the anti-government protesters, and eventually on that particular day what we witnessed was several of the houses of the MPs being burnt. So as far as Mahinda and Basil Rajapaksa is concerned, the case is still on. The in questioning of several people involved in this particular clash is on, and that is one of the reasons.
From Colombo tonight, we'll track what's happening in Parliament tomorrow. Thank you. But let's go across to what's devastating several states across India, and this time South Gujarat, especially Saurashtra, have been amongst the worst affected regions as far as flooding caused by the recent spell of heavy rain in several parts of Gujarat. There's still a red alert in areas. Let's go across to Saurabh reporting now live from there. Saurabh, what's the situation where you are?
Well, Sonia, the relief is actually that the rains have let up a bit, and that's why the flood waters are receding. Now, what you see on my left is a road that was completely submerged yesterday, and today, of course, the waters have receded a bit. But homes like these are still marooned and, surrounded by water on all sides. Now, in this home that you see, the meter box that you see, that was the level of the water yesterday. So it's come down by quite a bit, but it's far from normalcy. I have two people here with me who actually are residents whose home this is. ये आपका घर है, पानी इतना कल कहाँ तक था और अभी कितना कम हुआ है 12 घंटे में?
12 घंटे में ज़्यादा से पूरा पानी था और 12 घंटे के अंदर इतना पानी कम हुआ है।
12 घंटे में। तो ये हर साल ऐसे ही होता है कि इस बार थोड़ा ज़्यादा हुआ है?
इस बार थोड़ा ज़्यादा हुआ है।
ठीक है। यहाँ पे कौन सी नदी है जिससे पानी ये आता है? कावेरी नदी। So, you know, Sonia, on our way here, we tried taking another route and that route was blocked because the bridge on the Kaveri river had been damaged because of the heavy flow of water. But right now, even as waters recede, it's still quite bad here and it's still far from normalcy, and 8 dams across Gujarat are on high alert. The Sardar Sarovar Dam is over 50% full. Several dams are over nearly 90% full, and that's the situation here in Gujarat. And all homes behind me right now, it's dark, but there are a lot of homes behind me that are completely submerged at this point. We are at Navsari, which has received very heavy rainfall in, of course, the last 24 hours, and that's, of course, the situation here. But waters are receding in relief for residents in low-lying areas especially.
Thanks so much, Saurabh. Of course, Gujarat and Maharashtra facing the brunt of it this time. And this is what the UN's extreme climate change report had warned of, a climate emergency. So we've seen what's happening in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, in Andhra Pradesh. But let's go across the United Kingdom, where there are record-breaking temperatures and a heat warning. A red heat warning has been issued for the first time for extreme heat. In fact, temperatures here could now cross 40 degrees for the first time. So we talk about an Indian summer in the United Kingdom. This is actually even beating Indian summers in some parts, because the UK temperature is likely to cross 40 degrees by Monday or Tuesday. Let's go across to Radhika Iyer. Radhika, so you couldn't escape the heat in London, could you?
So it's the first time, Sonia, that the UK is seeing a national emergency such as this one being declared. This is a red warning as never before. Usually we had the amber warnings when temperatures touched 35 degrees, but it's likely to touch on Monday and Tuesday next week, 40 degrees and more. That will be the highest that the UK has seen ever. And where I'm coming to you from is Streatham Grounds, Streatham Common, a very, very popular park here in London, which usually would be full of people, but very, very, very few people. I have with me just this one mum who's enjoying some shade time along with her son. Hi, hello. Lucy. Very few of us at a park such as this one. Streatham Common would be full of people. How are you coping?
Yes, definitely. Well, we tried to go to the paddling pool and we've been having ice cream. But to be honest, for today, it's not so bad. I'm more worried about Monday and Tuesday because I'm pregnant and it's going to be 40 degrees and it's just like there's no air conditioning, there's no infrastructure. So in terms of kind of going about your business and being safe, it feels quite concerning.
Of course. And houses here in the UK are generally designed to retain heat. So it's not particularly comfortable on days.
I've been sleeping downstairs this week just because it's the coolest room in the house.
Does it concern you, Lucy, that climate change is now entering our living rooms?
It hugely does. And I feel like the government is very distracted at the moment, and that's not the focus, and it absolutely should be. So yeah, I'm hugely, hugely concerned for his future. I think it indicates something really dangerous and we need to do something about it now.
Yes, I agree. And take care of yourself and cope well. The government, as you know, the political situation at the moment in the UK is in a state. The present Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson, has, of course, announced a national emergency. There are a lot of measures, contingency measures, and people have been advised to stay home because even the healthy are expected to fall sick. But, Sonia, some really concerning times given deaths are expected. In just 2020, when the temperature soared about 35 degrees, we had about 2,500 and more deaths. So it's expected that it could exceed that limit.
Absolutely.
Sonia.
And as you made that point that, I mean, homes, they're meant to actually keep in the heat. Now it's actually the opposite. So thanks so much, Radhika. As you said, let's see in Monday or Tuesday. You may be even warmer than Delhi given the monsoon here. So that's the news from London. But let's just go across to what's happening now on the economic front. Well, the markets have snapped a 4-day losing streak. The Sensex gaining 344 points. The Nifty also gained 110 points. The biggest gainers were auto and FMCG shares. The rupee ended flat today at 79.87. It didn't cross 80 yet officially, according to Bloomberg. And other economic news coming in. China's economy has contracted 2.6% in the April to June quarter, mainly because of the COVID impact and lockdowns. Well, let's go across to some better news now. And we often talk about how much teachers can make a difference in children's lives. So take a look at this video from a school in Uttar Pradesh's Chandauli, where students of a government school broke down because their beloved teacher was being transferred.
अरे नहीं रोते मेरा भाई, तुम लोग नहीं रोते, ऐसे रोगे? अरे मेरा बच्चा, ऐसे नहीं रोते सब लोग.
A viral video of students crying inconsolably at their teacher's farewell. A rare and unusual bond between this unconventional teacher, Shivendra Singh, and his students in a region where schools are notoriously low in students' attendance.
उन बच्चों को जब वो मेरे साथ लिपटे हुए थे, जब मेरे साथ चिपके हुए थे, तो आप यकीन मानिए कि मेरा हृदय रो रहा था, बस आंसू आंखों में नहीं थे. और उस शायद मुझे लगता है कि 4 साल की कमाई को उन्होंने ब्याज से, जिसे कहते हैं सूद सहित, मुझे जब लौटाया है, तो मैं अपना अब आंगन भर रहा हूँ और वो भी नहीं भर पा रहा.
रोते नहीं, बहुत अच्छे से.
Using games and social media to teach, Shivendra's classes were a big draw. But after a 4-year stint, he's now been transferred from the Raigad Primary School in UP's Chandoli. For his heartbroken students, this inspiring teacher has a heartwarming message.
अब तुम लोग जाओ अच्छे से और बहुत अच्छा करना अपने जीवन में, बहुत अच्छा करना ना. चलो रोते नहीं, आएंगे, पक्का आएंगे दोबारा. चलो. अरे नहीं रोते मेरा भाई, तुम लोग नहीं रोते, ऐसे रोगे? अरे मेरा बच्चा, ऐसे नहीं रोते सब लोग.
What a difference one person can make in so many lives. Meanwhile, the story that's of course breaking Twitter and Instagram is the Lalit Modi-Sushmita Sen match. And today, Sushmita on Insta posted this saying, "I'm in a happy place, not married, no rings, but unconditionally surrounded by love."